It's been almost a week now since the Pittsburgh Steelers signed Isaac Seumalo. All the questions in the world are popping up. You got people saying that they're out here trying to replace Mason Cole and James Daniels now, and that, Nate Herbig is the replacement to Kevin Dotson, and Seumalo is the replacement to James Daniels, who have clearly not watched a Pittsburgh Steelers game in over a year. But it does leave questions. Do you look at the Steelers offense? Let me just ask this. What do you, if the Steelers started football today, what is their starting five on the offensive line? How do you foresee it?
Yeah, I'm just confused about the James Daniels thing. Was it Baldinger that brought that up?
It was. He said that they're replacing everybody. They're just cleaning house. I was like,
no, man.
I was like, well, you and he also said that he also suggested that James Daniels might want to move to center and compete with.
He played center before.
Yeah, that's where he came out. He came out of Iowa playing center, but he was by far the Steelers' best offensive lineman last season. Not like noticeably further ahead than everybody else.
If it was me, I would play Seumalo at left guard and just replace Dotson and then roll with that. I mean, if you really want to be technical, I think like when Seumalo is healthy, I think he's a little bit better of a player maybe than James Daniels. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I do think those guys are in the same tier of player where they're like legitimately good offensive linemen, like not elite or very good, but like just good, steady offensive linemen. And I would probably just keep Cole at center, assuming that they don't actually draft one. But I think that gets your best five players on the field at the same time. And I also just don't really understand the need to try to move James Daniels out the lineup. I don't know. That I've seen that comment. I knew I saw that on Twitter. Somebody was quote tweeting that. I just don't really understand that. I would.
Was a hot take.
I don't really care. Daniels had, I feel like maybe his best year of his career last year, if not best, like one of the best. So I probably wouldn't move him positions unless, they were just adamant that they like Seumalo at right guard. But Seumalo's played left guard. Like he's even played like a pinch of center in his career. So they've got some flexibility up front. I know Cole's played guard as well, but I would probably just keep it the way it is, play those guys at the guards. And I think that with those three guys, they've got a really nice foundation on the offensive line now along the interior.
Yeah, with Chooks still signed, they're not getting rid of Chooks. And, you could have your worries about Chooks all you want. He's not going anywhere. And then you go find a left tackle. And I agree. I don't think my outlook on Mason Cole is if you draft a center this year, okay, I get it. But if you don't draft a center, I see where the Steelers are coming from because they're playing baby steps with everything else around Kenny Pickett. Why would you mess up his center? Why would you eliminate the guy who everybody in the locker room loves? People love Mason Cole, love Mason Cole. The team loves him. The coaches love him. Kenny Pickett loves him. If you're keeping his backup quarterback for $10 million a year, why are you getting rid of his center? I
also want to point out, like, having a veteran center who's got a good amount of experience, like Cole's an experienced guy now.
At only 26 years old.
Yeah, having a veteran center is really important for a young quarterback too, because they were trying to take, especially like after he got off to a little bit of a rough start last season as a rookie, they tried to kind of scale back what they were asking him to do. But having a veteran center allows that guy to make the checks on offense, make the lines, the line calls, the slides and stuff like that. So you can take some off of Pickett's plate. Whereas if you go to a rookie center, you may not be comfortable forcing them into that role where they're making the checks and the protections at the line of scrimmage. So there's other ways to get it done. I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just, I think like with a young quarterback like that, who's still kind of learning his way, I think that I would prefer to just keep that familiarity between those two guys for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you messed that up for a guy who didn't play bad down the stretch. Seems comfortable. And like I said, everybody likes him. Let's talk NFL draft with that then. You change the guard. I think the right side from Seumalo over is kind of solidified. It's the Dan Moore Jr. sweepstakes here, the left tackle sweepstakes. There was a recent mock that I saw and somebody tossed it in the comments where Broderick Jones, this was Daniel Jeremiah's draft, where Broderick Jones falls to 17 for the Steelers. That's the easiest pick in the whole world. Like it's the you don't even have to question that one. But a more realistic option, let's talk Paris Johnson, DeJuan Jones, I think are both big names on the Steelers board. They took them out to dinner the other night. If either one of those are there at 17, I think Paris Johnson's a kind of a definite yes. But if DeJuan Jones is the last remaining good tackle there, are you taking him at 17 and feeling comfortable with that? Or do you see him as too much of a project right now to take a risk, and then maybe you wait for another guy who's equally as much of a project?
I'm interested to see because I really do think that I think that Jones, there's a lot of smoke surrounding him right now with the Steelers. Like they've showed a lot of interest in
A
him. Obviously,
lot.
met with him at the Senior Bowl, met with him at the Combine, if I do recall. Um, took him out to dinner. I don't. I mean, maybe he's a dark horse guy for 17. I know people have. I've seen. I think I've been sent like 4,700 mock drafts on Twitter, but I know like everyone's like popular pick is like Dwan Jones at
Yeah.
32.
Yeah.
Um, maybe
I feel you.
he's there at 32, and that could be the route that they go. I do think he's maybe a sleeper, I guess, for get picked at 17.
Do you think he
Jones,
makes it to 17 or to 32?
I don't know. I don't know how the league views him. It does seem like both him and Darnell Wright are picking up steam just in terms of like the bigger name, like draft media guys. It seems like they're getting mocked earlier and earlier by the week. But
Yeah.
Jones, he got really powerful hands. That link that he's got is very unique. He's able to ride defenders up the arc extremely easy. Question mark with Jones is like he's not that good of an athlete. Like there's legitimate like foot speed concerns, I think, that are gonna show up. Like he's going to be a guy that's gonna have to win with his length, and like speedier edge rushers, I think are gonna give him some trouble in the NFL
Yeah.
early on. But I do think he's a good player. He's a pretty refined guy too. Loves that snatch trap move. Definitely looks the part. He looks the part for sure. So
Dude, he does. And the 33rd team, they sent me a mock yesterday. They have the Steelers draft him at 17. They compared him to Orlando Brown, which brings up Nick's comment here about the Orlando Brown interest.
yeah,
If the Steelers were interested, just to connect the dots here, the Steelers were interested in Orlando Brown, who you have told me might not make all the sense in the world at left tackle, but is a very powerful guy, not an over accelerated athlete. DeJuan Jones being compared to him, the 33rd team said that's their player comparison. Maybe that's what they're looking for. Maybe the Steelers are looking at a guy that are just like, dude, we've gone the athletic route. We need maulers. We need guys who are just going to downhill, blow people out the whole time. I don't know. If you draft DeJuan Jones and then Chooks doesn't work out, could you just move him over to the right side and then just say, we'll try again later? I don't think that's the answer.
yeah.
But
I mean, they can.
breaking news. Breaking news. The Pittsburgh Steelers are signing swing offensive tackle LaRaven Clark, according to Jordan Schultz.
Interesting.
Started 2 games for the Titans last year. No idea.
That's interesting. I hope I hope it's not as bad as the rest of the Titans offensive line was last year. It was rough to watch. So that's interesting. Well, it gives me something to do after I get off here, I guess.
Yeah, no, I did not see this one coming.
Who are we talking
Washington.
about? Oh, you're talking about Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Jones is a right tackle in the league, in my opinion. I feel more comfortable with
Okay.
Darnell Wright at left tackle than I do Jones at right tackle, but I still think it makes some level of sense, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I do think that it still makes sense. Chooks on that big contract, they can obviously always move Chooks to the other side. But I definitely think Jones is definitely in the mix. I mean, they're showing him a ton of interest. So